Hey guys, we're here with Colin Peterson, here with a Kaiju deck profile.
Alright. So to start off, we played Tsuchizukiru. He's one of your big beaters, and his effect is basically whenever a card is targeted, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the board, yours or your opponent's, to negate the activation of that card. Not negate the activation, negates the card and deals destroys 1 card on the board. Anything you want. It's just your biggest beater, definitely really strong. 2 Thunder King, he's the best Kaiju in the deck. His effect is you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the board to be able to cold wave your opponent, but of all of their effects, and you can attack up to 3 monsters a turn. He's definitely the best one, and there's almost moments where I wish I played 3. I played 2 Radiant because it had a lot of OTK potential. His effect is you can remove from play 2 counters from anywhere to make a token copy of himself, but the token cannot be synchroed with. So it allowed you to go from 28 to double the attack super quick. It's the only quick beat damage probably outside of Thunder King.
Do you have any multi-chance?
Played 2 Gamma Seal. He's the other best one in the deck. He can negate anything in the game pretty much just by removing 2 Kaiju counters. It's the best way to describe it. Negates activation, so even in damage step, stops card effects.
Hey, bro.
Played
Excuse me.
2 Anti-Kaiju. You can't give them to your opponent like every other Kaiju in the deck, but you can give it to them through Slumbering, and allows for a lot of OTK potential by being at 0 attack. His effect is, though, you can pay 2 Kaiju counters to target a Kaiju in your graveyard, equip it to as an equipped spell card, and it gains the attack equal to it. There's no limit to how many Kaiju monsters can actually be equipped, but you can only do once per turn. Definitely an interesting card, has a lot of combos that I can explain. For one-of Kaijus, we played 1 Dogeron. We just kind of wanted an extra name, and there are some times where you don't play Raigeki. I don't play Raigeki at least. And he can Raigeki the board, and you can use certain combos to switch him out to get more attacks. And then for another one-of, we played Galadarga. I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry guys, Mothra. His effect is you can remove 3 Kaiju counters, you Blackwing Gale your entire opponent's board, and it's permanent. And you can do this during your opponent's turn, which is actually really cool, because they have Dark Destroyer, and they think, self-hustle security. It's really great. And then
crazy.
for non-Kaiju cards, I played Triple Curry Bandit. Had a lot of synergy with searching for certain spells and traps, and also allowed me to use synergy with Kaijus in Graveyard, which I will get into as we go along. And then the one-of Granmole, because giving your opponent basically a lava golem and then just keep bouncing it back to your hand, keep giving it to him, this is the gift that keeps on giving. If you don't know what that card does, no problems. So for spells, for 3-ofs, I played 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It's a dark hole that at the end of it, before it resolves, I get to choose 2 Kaijus with different names, give 1 to my opponent and 1 to myself, and they have to conduct battle phase if possible if they're on the board. It's just Konami really wanting to shove the big monster fight in our faces. The other effect of this card is when it's in the graveyard, not the turn you sent it, you can remove it from play to search your deck for any Kaiju in the deck. It's a really solid card. You don't mind milling it with Curry Bandit, which is one of those combo pieces I talked about.
I've seen people teching that into builds, isn't that?
A lot of Cosmo players will tech 1 with like 1 Radiant, 1 Humongous, and 1 Gamma Seal, and it allows certain plays, and it's the dream that someone plays that against me when I play this deck. We played 3 Kaiju Files. This came out in the newest set, Shining Victories. This card is a huge combo maker. It has 3 effects. The first effect is it allows, every time a Kaiju monster is special summoned from graveyard or hand, this will gain a Kaiju counter. This also includes opponents, hence why I would love to have someone play it. Its second effect is you can tribute a Kaiju monster from either side of the board and replace it with a Kaiju monster of a different name from your deck onto the respective side. This has the combo piece that I talked about earlier, that you can't give anti-Kaiju with its own effects because it can't go to your opponents, but you can give them another Kaiju and then tribute it and force them to have the 0 attack. This also works with Slumber, which is also the biggest combo with Slumber. Its third effect, which I never really used because I only had 1 target for my build, was if this has 3 or more counters, you can tribute it and the counters. You search your deck with any spell card with Kaiju, a spell or trap with Kaiju in the name, and add it to your hand. Alas, the only one I played was Interrupted Slumber, but being able to tutor for a Dark Hole if necessary could be pretty good. I just never sadly found the opportunity. For 2-ofs, I played 2 Kyoto Waterfront. It's needed for the deck, but I don't want to like clog it. I don't want to like have too many in hand. Its effect is whenever a card from the field or our hands, both mine and my opponent, would go to the graveyard, this will gain a Kaiju counter to the maximum of 5. As long as this has 3 or more, once per turn, you can search your deck for any Kaiju and add it to your hand. They don't have to remove Kaiju counters for that, which a lot of people question. The other effect is if this card would be destroyed by a card effect, you can remove 1 Kaiju counter to save it, which it happens a lot. Some people actually screw up. I played 2 Terraforming. This is why I didn't really play 3 Waterfront, because this is less cloggy than this, and it just lets us get the Waterfront to hand quicker.
Do you find that you always need the Waterfront to make your plays happen?
A lot of today, I actually ended up sitting on Kaiju files and not finding Waterfront, but when I found the Waterfront, the plays became a lot simpler, and I was able to keep boards a lot longer. But files can play on its own if you need to be. I played 2 Twin Twisters because this actually has more value in this deck than I think in other decks. Because playing this in Kaijus considers itself to be 3 Kaiju counters for Waterfront. Because you'll get 1 counter for the cost, 1 counter for the 2 cards, up to 2 cards you destroy, and then 1 counter for this resolving and leaving the field. So this will automatically put you in your 3 counter threshold. It allows you to just immediately play 2 cards, use 1 to search 1, so it kind of evens out at a 2, I think. I don't know how to really describe it, but this card comes in handy. It gets rid of a lot of problems as well, because it's good. And for a 1-of, I played 1 Upstart Goblin, because this is an automatic, you just filter and add a Kaiju counter, because this will give you a Kaiju counter for when playing.
So any sort of like deck thinning in this deck is just so good?
Yeah, trade-in is also not a bad idea, because you get 2 Kaiju counters to draw 2 and you cycle it out. For traps, I played Triple Call the Haunted, which is where the Curry Bandit's energy kind of came in. All of the Kaijus can be special summoned from grave. They just can't have more than 1. So being able to summon Thunder King or Jizukiru or Gamma Seal during a battle phase or during an end phase allowed to create for a lot of advantage. And just potential games at times. It worked out pretty well. Played Triple Storming Mirror Force. The reason I chose this card was because if you give your opponent a Kaiju and you don't really have a Kaiju to respond with, you can set Storming Mirror Force, and when they go to attack, you can add your Kaijus back to their hand and negate the attack.
Just sets up your plays for next
And it just
turn.
allows you to keep playing your Kaijus more and make it so they can't play in response.
That's crazy.
And of course, I really wanted to win games against things like Cosmo and other stuff, which I don't want to deal with ships at times. Definitely was a really good choice. I played 2 Chaos Trapple. This was mostly for Cosmo, but it did see a lot of play working well against Monarchs today, as well as I saw a Rogue matchup that was just playing Lights and Darks mixed with it, and it got a little play. It's a really good card to just kind of open, because this deck doesn't really care if it goes first or second, but if it goes first, it can set enough back row to cause a lot of problems. But I personally like the Chaos Trapple, and I don't think I could take them out. These could probably be a lot of other things, though. I think this is a player preference choice, and I just chose this one. For 1-ofs, I played 1 Solemn Warning, because standard Solemn Warning, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, because for that, and 1 Oasis Dragon Soul, because a 4th Call the Haunted wasn't bad, and putting Gamma Seal in defense mode sometimes was really strong. It's a really good way to just kind of keep abusing Kaijus as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's it for the main deck. I didn't have a extra deck, but I did play a side, and it was not a complete side deck. For monsters, I sided a 3rd Gamma Seal, in case I felt like I needed less names and more negation, which that definitely came up against Monarch matchups, because I wanted to stop Idea as quick as possible, as well as Erebos. I played the 1 Thunder King, but I don't think I ever really got to see an opportunity to play this card. If I could find it, it's always a card I want to keep around. It's just a solid favorite. The MVP of this, the thing I probably cited more than anything today, Mithria the Thunder Vassals. I versed Yosenju's a lot, and among other things, this card's effect is you can reveal it from your hand to special summon it to your side of the field. It also special summons a token to your opponent. The reason I cited this, because Yosenju's and Psy Frames do not want to summon monsters, and I can't really play with Kaijus with that matter. So by doing this, it allows you to force your Kaijus upon them when they don't want them. Of course, there are other combos. There were the thoughts of also playing like Vanity's Fiend after I summoned Gamma Seal, so I could have negates
Yeah, so
and
you
no
could
summons as
tribute.
well, because you
That's
get the free
crazy.
tribute.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options with this deck.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot of creativity, and I'm definitely going to experiment with it more. For spells, I sided one Raigeki, though I could never put it in because I already main deck triple Slumber, so this was probably the weakest card in my side, and it's probably coming out. I sided triple Kaiser Coliseum. I only got to see this in one opportunity, and it was against a rogue matchup, and it helped because if you can set on a Gamma Seal or Jizukiru, this card can actually win you a game, because now you're forcing them to have to deal with one Kaiju, forcing them to do the monster battle without them having a Kaiju. They're stuck to just one monster, always. And it can actually create an entire win condition on its own. For traps, I said 2 Imperial Iron Walls because I really didn't care about Cosmos, and Gamma Seal actually still gets his negates even if he doesn't remove the card, which is what's really cool about him. So this doesn't really hurt you in any way. So I even wouldn't be surprised if people main decked it. You can get away with it pretty easily. I side decked one Skill Drain because you don't really mind if your Kaijus don't have their effects. Some of them are 3,300 beaters, which is already stronger than a lot of things in this format.
Just a bunch of sticks, right?
Yeah, and if you are daring enough to play the Remove Brainwashing combo, which I can explain if need be, it can create a OTK potential on its own. It's a solid card to have around for this deck. And then last card in the side deck was one Vanity's Emptiness. I don't ever think I needed this either. It's next to Raigeki, weak as hell. I just couldn't find a use for it and just never came up. So I'd probably take this out as well.
That was pretty awesome, and thanks, Colin.
No problem. Hopefully I can keep you guys updated with more Kaiju stuff.